Hello, and welcome to the Faith and Knitting Podcast. My name is Rhonda, and I'm coming to you from our home just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'm so glad that you joined me. Thank you so much. It is just a few days before Christmas right now. We're right at about 3 days before Christmas. So there's so much to do, and there's just this excitement that I always have at Christmas time. And so I'm grateful that you joined me. Thank you so much. And this will be a special Christmas episode. My plan is that I won't show any knitting this time. There won't be a knitting update because I don't have any Christmas knits. I'm kind of focusing everything on Christmas because, again, we're 3 days away. And I don't have any Christmas socks that I've made. I don't have any Christmas sweaters that I've done. So I won't have a knitting update this episode. But next episode, I will. I definitely will. I'll show you the things that I'm working on again. But for this episode, what I thought I would do is, I don't know if you remember, if you've watched some of the other episodes, you might have heard me say that before I was a knitter, I was a quilter. That was the first craft that I did. I was a quilter, and so I have Christmas quilts that I'd like to share with you. And after quilting, I went into rug hooking, and I have one rug hooking Christmas project that I'd like to share with you. And so that's what I'm planning to do today, is to share with you Christmas projects and focus on Christmas. But the first thing I want to do is to, again, give a big thank you to all of you who have been subscribing and viewing the episodes. The channel is growing quickly, and I'm so excited. I'm really, really so excited. And I want to give a big thank you to Amy at Two Sisters and Some Yarn, because she shared the podcast on her Instagram page. She recommended the podcast on her Instagram page. And she also gave a great shout out to me on their podcast. They have a podcast, and it's called Two Sisters and Some Yarn. So I am doing the same. I'm returning the favor, and I'm saying to you, if you have a chance, watch Two Sisters and Some Yarn. There's Amy, the younger sister, and Denise, the older sister. And I watched their podcast, and it was so fun. They are just have this kind of cheerful chatter between sisters, and it's so fun to see all of their projects. Between the two of them, they have so many projects they're working on. They had all these beautiful project bags that they kept their projects in. So I recommend their channel. They're just so fun to listen to. Just the back and forth chatter between the sisters is so funny. And thank you so much again, ladies, for recommending the channel. And again, right back at you. I recommend your channel. If you want to have a fun time knitting and just some laughs and just hearing lots of good yarn talk, then visit Two Sisters and Some Yarn. So again, but thank you to all of you who've been subscribing, and some of the wonderful comments I've been getting, so encouraging and so just so uplifting. Thank you so much. I can't even express to you how good it makes me feel and how happy it makes me to just to know that you're watching and that somehow you're taking something from the episodes that is becoming meaningful to you. So thank you very, very, very much. I am so grateful. Thank you. Another thing I want to mention is that because it is 3 days before Christmas, everybody is home. So if you hear voices in the background or doors slamming or other kinds of noise, it's because everyone's home. And so, yeah, just be aware of that. Hopefully it won't be distracting, but it's good that everyone's here, but they are noisy people. I told everyone I'm recording, but sometimes they forget. So if you hear noises in the background, that's what it is. And it's good. It's not a big deal. In the last episode, I mentioned that our church had done the Angel Tree Project for the women at the prison. And Angel Tree is a ministry, I guess it's called a ministry, that provides Christmas gifts for children whose parents are incarcerated. And we did that a few weeks ago, and I mentioned last episode that our church had done that. And that was just for the women, because there's only about 85 women in the prison, so that's kind of manageable to provide gifts for their children. But for the men, it would be a whole different ball game. There's about 650 men. So we don't do the angel tree for the men, but our church does provide, and this is the third year that we've done it, Christmas commissary bags. They're Christmas bags that we order through commissary that provides for the prison anyway. But at Christmas time, they have these special snack bags and they have all these different snacks. They have coffee and cookies, things that are real treats for the people there in the prison. And so our church provided these commissary Christmas bags for all the inmates, the men and the women. So this time the men were able to have a little Christmas gift. And it's always such, just so heartwarming because they are so grateful. We get so many notes that they write to the church afterwards. And sometimes, these notes about, one guy said, I've never received a Christmas gift before. And, they say that it's so good to know that somebody remembered us, that we're not forgotten at Christmas. And so it's a joy to be able to do that. And today the Christmas bags went out. They all got their Christmas bags. And also I sent a note. I composed a letter for Christmas to the women, since this will be my last time at the prison before Christmas. And I'd like to share the Christmas letter with you that I sent to the women. But the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to take, since we're very much focusing on Christmas, I'd like to take the opportunity to read you the Christmas story, to share that with you from Luke chapter 2. So this is the Christmas story as told by Luke, and is found in Luke chapter 2, and I'll read verses 1 through 15. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and laid him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth, peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." I just want to share with you the gist of what I wrote to the women at the prison in the Christmas letter I sent to them. Just wanting to wish them a Merry Christmas and acknowledging that prison is not the place you want to be at Christmas, and it's actually usually a very hard time for them there because of missing family, being away from their children, not being able to celebrate. And so there's a lot of, it can be a difficult time for them. So I wanted to wish them a Merry Christmas and acknowledging that is not the place that they will want to be, but letting them know that they can still have a good Christmas, even there in prison, because they may be missing the parties and the gathering with family and friends. They may be missing the shopping and the decorating and the baking and all of the festive activities, the traditions and the family things that go into Christmas. They may be missing those. And so it may feel like Christmas is passing them by, especially now with COVID. They're not even able to have visitors. So their families aren't even able to come into the prison to visit with them during this Christmas season. So it's extra hard. And I wanted to send a letter that would encourage them. And even though they're having to miss all the things that people normally associate with Christmas, I wanted them to know that in spite of that, they can still have a good Christmas. Because it's as wonderful and fun as all of those things are, all of those things that they're missing are, none of them are the true meaning of Christmas. So I wanted to kind of focus their attention to what the real true meaning of Christmas is, so that even if they are in prison, they can still celebrate because they're not missing the true meaning of Christmas. What I said to them was that none of those things are what makes Christmas special. What makes Christmas special is the fact that God gave us a gift. He gave a gift to us, and it was the most amazing, the most awesome gift that you could ever imagine. And it's a gift that we could never earn. It's a gift that we did not deserve. But because of his great love, God gave it to us anyway. And that gift was Jesus, the best gift ever. Because of that baby in the manger, we can have peace with God. We can have peace between God and ourselves. We can have peace with our fellow men. We can have peace within ourselves, meaning peace in our hearts and peace in our minds. We can have peace because of the baby in the manger. Because of that baby in the manger, we can have hope for our future. We can know that our future is secure with God. That no matter what happens, no matter what our circumstances are, we can know that God has us in the palm of his hand, and nothing, no thing, no person can take us out of his hand. So we can have a security and a firm knowledge that we are secure in our future. And because of that baby in the manger, we can have joy. And not just happiness, which is kind of based on our circumstances. When our circumstances are good, we're happy. When our circumstances are not good, then we're not so happy. But we can have a deep down joy, an everyday joy. In spite of our circumstances, that joy can be ours. No matter what is going on in our lives, we can live each day with a joy that is unshakable because of the baby in the manger. And because of that baby in the manger, we can live without fear. We can know that God is always with us, so that we are never alone. We can face anything, we can deal with anything, we can go through anything, because we know that God and his presence and his power are with us and for us. So we never have to fear. And because of that baby in the manger, we can love freely. When we know God and when we come into a relationship with him and we make him our God, he then puts his love in our hearts so that we can love him, we can love those around us, and we can love ourselves with a love that is true and pure that we can never manage on our own. And because of the baby in the manger, we can have a life that is eternal, a life that goes on forever. Because of him, we can have heaven as our eternal destination. Heaven, where there's no more sorrow or crying, no more lack or want, no sickness or disease or death. That will be all gone. Only a great abounding joy in the presence of God forever. Because of the baby in the manger, all of these things can be ours. And that is the good news of Christmas. That is the true meaning of Christmas. So it doesn't matter if you're in prison or wherever you are, you can experience that. You can experience that yourself, because God is love. He is here. He has sent the best gift ever and it's for all people. As those angels said to the shepherds on that hillside in Judea that night, it is a gift that is from God, and it will bring great joy to all people, no matter where you are, whether you're in the prison or whether you're in the palace. This gift is for all people, and it's meant to bring great joy. And you can have all of that and experience all of that as you make God your God, as you turn your life over to him. So that is the meaning of Christmas. That is the true meaning of Christmas, and it is joy for all the people. So that is the letter that I sent to the women at the prison today. And it is just something that can encourage them, I hope, and it can encourage you as well. Just to remember what we're celebrating, the true meaning of Christmas. We get so caught up in the wrapping of Christmas that we need to get to the present of Christmas, the true treasure of Christmas. It's that God sent his son to save us. He sent a baby to save us. As I said in the letter, God in his great wisdom sent a baby to save the world. The most helpless and innocent of creatures sent to save the world. So if we just focus on the true meaning of Christmas, all the other things are good. All the other things are fine. They're enjoyable. They're even desirable. But let us not lose focus on what the true meaning of Christmas is. It is so much better than all of these other things. And so I do wish you a very Merry Christmas. Have a great time with your family and friends. Celebrate, enjoy as much as you can. This year, we're still under the COVID restrictions in some places. So I know that may have an influence on how you can celebrate, but I wish you the warmest, brightest, best Christmas ever. But focus your hearts on the true meaning of Christmas. As I've said, I'd like to share with you some of the Christmas projects that I've made in the past. And most of them, again, will be quilted projects because I don't have any knitted Christmas projects, and I was a quilter first. So most of the things that I've done in the past were quilts. And the first thing I'd like to share with you is my wall hanging. And this is the pattern. I'll show you first. It's called, and I hope there's not too much of a glare on it. I think you can see it. It's called Here Comes Santa Claus. And it's just a fun, very cute little pattern. And it's by Possibilities, if you can see that. Possibilities, Nancy J. Smith and Linda S. Milligan. And the company is Possibilities. And they are one of my favorites. They have so many just cute little patterns, a lot of applique, which I really, really enjoy. And this one, as you can see, it's a combination of applique for the Santa and piecing the trees that line the border. I have a few of their books because they have so many cute little patterns that are just so adorable and so enjoyable to make. So Here Comes Santa Claus. And this one, I don't think this was a kit. I think I gathered the materials myself. I have to back up a little bit so that you can see. And I might have to actually take a picture of it so that you can see the whole thing. So this is my Here Comes Santa quilt. Hopefully you can see it. It is it's a wall hanging. So it's a nice size wall hanging. Get a little bit close up. There's Santa. And you can see the tree border there as well. I put a sleeve, and you can slip a rod through the sleeve. I put a sleeve for hanging. And you can see some of I did hand quilting these little, a grid, a diagonal grid. You can see the hand quilting there around Santa. And also you can see the stitches, the hand quilting around the trees in the border as well. I think it's 42 by 42. And you can get a good look at Santa there. So he'll be going up on the wall right after this because I've waited to hang it up so that I can show it to you. But he is ready to go up on the wall. So that is Here Comes Santa. And again, it's by Possibilities. They do so many cute little projects. And I think at some point I want to show you the baby bumpers that I made. And that was using some of their patterns. They have a whole book of baby patterns that are so adorable. And I used those patterns to make the bumpers. And I'll show that to you at some point. And they give you suggestions, other things you can make, pillows, sweatshirts, that you can make with some of the patterns from the book. They do a fantastic job. So that is Here Comes Santa. The next thing I'd like to share with you is this cute little tree skirt. And I was looking for the pattern. I could not find it. I think it was by Piece of Cake Designs. I wish I could find it to show you, but I think it was by Piece of Cake Designs, and has a little house on each end. And in the middle, there's stars and a little house and a tree. One thing that I always enjoyed doing when I was in my quilts, I really enjoy houses and trees. I like applique. I like kind of making pictures with my quilts. And I really enjoy something about houses and trees. It's just that feeling of home. And usually there's stars or suns in the clouds, of course, in the sky. But a lot of the applique that I do centers around houses and trees. Just that feeling of home and coziness. And yeah, so this is very, very cute. I really like that. And in the pattern, they had a different kind of house, a more stylized house, but I just wanted a little simple house. So I replaced the house, and I think they had also a more stylized tree. And I replaced the house and the tree and made it more simple because I wanted to just really be a simple little kind of country feel, a little house with smoke rising from the chimney that just kind of speaks of a cozy, warm, welcoming home. A little light. The window has, the little yellow, so this shows that there's light on inside, and it just makes it feel really cozy. And then using all the different blues for the sky was really fun. Choosing the different blues that I used. So this is a really cute one. This one goes on the kitchen table at Christmas time. And yeah, it's really pretty. And I wish I had I wish I could find the pattern. I just could not find it. Another project I'd like to share with you it's another Christmas wall hanging that I did. And I just call it Welcome Home. And I have this hanging right in the front door. As you come in through the front door, it's hanging on the wall right there. It's a smaller wall quilt. And well, the one thing that you might notice right away is that my O fell off. I did this using fusible letters, and I have my O. I did find it. For a while I couldn't find it, but I found my O, and it should go like just right there. I just have to re-glue it and put it back on again. But just full disclosure, this O came off probably 4 years ago. And I just have not gotten around to putting it back on. And I still hang the quilt up. I still hang this up by our front door for the past 3 or 4 years, just like this. And I have this O in my drawer. I just have not been able, but I just haven't taken the time to refuse it. But maybe I'll do that this year. So there's the O, but here is the quilt. Welcome Home. Again, with a little house with the glowing, well, I don't know why I made the front door glow, but with the window that glows, that there's someone home, it's a welcoming sign. And this one, I don't even think I meant to make this as a Christmas quilt. I used this fabric for the house, and I was just pulling the colors out of it, and it just turned out to be red, green, and kind of gold. So I put red and green in the border, and then once I put it together, I realized, oh, this looks like a Christmas quilt. So I hang it up mostly at Christmas. I don't think I usually have it up the rest of the year, but for Christmas time and through January and February, I keep it up. And again, the letters are just fused on The house is pieced and set in, it's a square that's set into the rest of the backing. Well, I did put a sleeve on this one for hanging. You just, again, slide a rod in there. You could just hang it up. This is about, I think, 17 by 21. It's a smaller size wall hanging, but very cute. 2 little chimneys there on the house. And yeah, I think I'm gonna really try to get that old back on this year. Maybe I'll do that before I hang it up this time. So that's another one that I wanted to share with you. And next is a really big one. Let me just go and get it. This next project that I'd like to share is one of my favorites. It is a beauty. It's really a beautiful one. And it is designed by Lynette Jensen. She's a very well-known, actually, there's a picture of Lynette right there. She's a very well-known quilt designer. But her patterns, she tends mostly towards like the simplistic country style, which is really my style, which I really enjoy. So I have quite a few of her books. I think a couple of the other things that I'm going to show you are also some of her designs. So the one that I'm going to show you now is the Christmas tree skirt, the skirt that we use on our tree at Christmas. And again, it's from this book, At Home with Thimbleberries Quilts by Lynette Jensen. And her company is called Thimbleberries. So that's her design company. It's called Thimbleberries. And the quilt, or the tree skirt, I'll show you the picture first. There it is. Here she uses it as a tablecloth. And I think in the pattern, you can use it, make it as a table topper, or you can also put a hole in the center and you cut down, almost like steeking. You put a hole in the center and you cut through the middle of one of the trees, and you can use it then as a tree skirt. So, which I like this as well as a table topper, but I wanted to have a tree skirt. So I'll show you, and this is a really big one. So I'll just back up a little bit and I'll show you and see the best way to do it. It is now, I think I will also have to take a picture or a video of this so you can see the full, the quilt in full. There's the hole for the tree that goes around the tree. And I just put in a couple of little ties on it. So you just wrap it around the tree and tie it. But I'll just show you kind of a detail of it. This is one of the houses. Again, houses and trees are just my favorites. I think if you go around our house and look at some of the prints that we have hanging up, 99% of them probably have houses and trees in them. That's just me. I just enjoy that. So this is one of the houses. This has stars in the windows. And then there's the tree next to it. And this house has little gingerbread men in the window, and then a tree next to it, a pine for Christmas. And this house has little candles in the window. So they're all the same houses, the little windows, all different little motifs. And the tree next to that. And this house has little hearts in the window. And the tree here is the one that was sort of steeped. Let's see if I can show it to you. Where this tree was cut apart and it was bound and made the opening for the tree skirt. But it is a beautiful, really a beautiful pattern. And here the first border after the houses and trees is meant to be like a little picket fence. Sorry, this is a little hard to show. Okay, this is probably better. It's meant to be a little picket fence, and then there's like this outer border, which is just green and brown squares, and then 4 golden squares in the corners. It's just a beautiful quilt, very homey, very cozy, very warm. You get a warm feeling from it. And on the back, I just used this beautiful golden color with little flecks of red in it, and then binding it with a kind of a dusty red binding. all the colors of Christmas, red, gold, and green. This is just such a fun, and it looks so good if you lay it around under the tree. It's just really beautiful. Again, I'm going to take video of it so we can try to get the whole thing in the picture. Again, Lynette Jensen, she does beautiful country style work, which I just really, really like. This tree skirt is 52 inches square, so it's a big one, but it just kind of flows out around the tree and the little houses and the trees. It's just really, really charming. Really, really charming. Another one of my Christmas makes that I did a few years ago that I'd like to share with you is, it's also from Lynette Jensen. It's in this book, Classic Country Christmas by Lynette Jensen. And again, her things are just beautiful. Her designs, the way she styles her photos, it's just get this country, classic, simple, down-home feel to it. All of her quilts and her designs. And the one that I'd like to show you, she shows it as a winter, as a quilt. She shows it as a quilt. It's this winter woods quilt. You see the house, again, the houses and the trees there. And this is kind of a drawing of the quilt design. There's a drawing of it. But I didn't make it as a wall hanging like she shows it here. I wanted to have two pillows for the entryway. As you come into our home, there's the entryway and there's a bench there. And I wanted to have two big kind of cushy pillows on the bench. And so I took the house and the trees and I made them into pillows instead of the wall hanging. So here's the house block. I just took it and I put a black around it that gives it that country feel, green and red corners, a green border and red corners. So that's the house that I made. And then the tree block, I made it into a second pillow. The cream background and the black border together add just like a simple country feel. And I did a green outer border and little red squares in the corners. That's how I use that pattern. And so it just shows how you can kind of break things up. It's one wall hanging, but I just took the blocks from it. And actually there's a star there. I could have used that somehow, but I only needed two pillows. So, but I just took the two blocks and made them into pillows. So that's another way that you can just kind of break things up and make them for yourself and make them how you want them to be. Again, Lynette Jensen is one of my favorites. Those are my two Christmas pillows. I didn't show you the back. And I made these little, I don't remember where I found out how to make this, but I make these like little covers that you can just slip the pillow insert in and out. There's no zipper and they're pretty snug. They fit pretty snugly. And the pillow, they're getting kind of flattened a little bit now because they've been in use for probably 4 or 5 years. So this was the back, the house block. I just put this kind of red and gold. Also has that kind of country, simple feel to it. For the back of the tree pillow, I use this kind of, it's sort of a plaid, red and gold and brown color. Just giving that, again, that country feel that I like so much. And again, also getting a little flattened from use. And I like to change out things like as the seasons go. So I have these that I put out at Christmas on the little bench next to the front door. I have also fall pillows that I made with leaves and fall colors. I'm still trying to get spring pillows made. I haven't been able to do that yet. I started it. Actually, maybe they're hanging up on the wall. Maybe I'll show you a little shot of the spring pillows that I'm in the process, and I have been in the process for a while of making. They didn't make it for spring this year, so hopefully maybe for spring next year. The next thing I'd like to share with you is also based on a Lynette Jensen design. I told you she's one of my favorites. I have a lot of her books. I use a lot of her patterns. I really, really like that simple country feel that she gives. So what I'd like to share with you now are the Christmas stockings that I made for our family. And they are from the book At Home with Thimbleberries Quilts by Lynette Jensen. Again, look at this beautiful And again, I think she also likes trees and houses. The beautiful cover. I think this one is called Christmas House Quilt. So I think she also likes trees and houses. And maybe that's why I like her design so much, because we have that same kind of country style with trees and lots of houses. Very homey feel. The stockings that I made, this is the pattern as she shows it and as she has it. These really cute little stockings with trees and little hearts and little ruffle. I like that you can see the little ruffle along the top of the stocking. And this is the pattern that is given in the book. You can see the size of it. That's the bottom. And then on the next page, there's the top of the stocking. And I wanted to do a little bit different. So I took the pattern, I used this to cut out my stockings, but I changed it from her design. And I'll show you what I did. And I made a stocking for each of us. First, there was 3 stockings, just my husband and me and our son. And then as our second son came along, I made him a stocking. And then when our daughter came along, I made her stocking for her. So let's see, I'll start with my husband's. This is his, again, I took the pattern, the shape of it from the Lynette Jensen pattern. And I used, because he's a man, you know, I thought this would be like a nice stocking for a man with these little woodland animals, trees, skies, stars, and trees. And then I did this little, it's supposed to be like icicles, but I used, my daughter says it looks like frosting on a cake. Anyway, and actually the pattern was for a cake frosting. I don't know how she realized that, but the pattern was for cake frosting. It was a pattern for a cake and they had frosting. And I thought, oh, I can just take that and use it for icicles on the top of my stockings. It's fusible applique. You cut out the shapes, you put the fusible webbing on the back, and you iron them on, and then you go around each shape with this black thread, and you do this buttonhole stitch. It's a very fun and quick way. It's much quicker than hand appliquing, and mostly for, if I'm doing a quilt that it's going to be like a special quilt or like an heirloom type quilt, I will do hand applique. But for something that's just a fun, quick little project, I like the fusible applique. It does leave kind of a firmness to it. It's not as soft as hand applique. And then you do have layers of fabric also, which maybe accounts for the stiffness, because the tree is layered on top of the blue sky fabric. In hand applique, you would cut away, as you would applique the tree to the background, you would cut away behind the tree. You would cut away the sky background, so you don't have that bulk and that thickness. And then the batting can push through and kind of stand out. So when you have layered fabric like that, the batting isn't able to push out and just kind of make the motif stand out a little bit like you would see in hand quilting. The background layer is there, and then this layer is there. So it keeps the batting from pushing forward. But it's a cute, colorful little project, and I sewed buttons on for the lights on the tree. And what I used for the pattern for these, I went back to my other favorites, Possibilities by Linda Milligan and Nancy Smith. And this one is from their book called Bed Warmers. And they have all of these quilts that you can use, just almost like toppers for the bed. And here you can see where they made pillow shims and like the topper for the bed. But I just took the animals and the trees. There's the bear there that I used, and this little reindeer like guy, and the trees. So I took those patterns and I put them together on this stocking. So that was from, again, Possibilities by Linda Milligan and Nancy Smith. And I'll show you the patterns that they have. So there's one of the little reindeer pattern. And there's the bear. And it just shows the trees, the different sizes of the trees. So you can mix and match, you know, just really be creative. Take the stocking shape from one book, take the motifs from another book, and just make it your own. So, and I really like that background fabric where it looks like it's either stars in the sky or snowing. Now the next one, this is one that I made for myself, and you can see the motif I chose on this one. Houses with the smoke coming out of the chimney, trees, kind of a starry sky, and then I put the little icicles at the top. So that is, I don't remember where I got this little pattern for the house, but so cute, these little stockings. And I didn't do the ruffles that she did at the top of hers, but I wanted it to be a little bit more simple. And so, yeah, just really charming. And on the back, just a cute little Christmas fabric that I used, little trees with stars on the top. And I didn't show the back of my husband's, this one. On the back of this, red and cream plaid. I did on the back of that one. So these are so cute, and it's so cute to see them all hung up over the mantle. The one I made for our oldest son is this one. And what I did was, I did mommy and daddy. I embroidered mommy and daddy across the top. But for the children, I put their names over the top. So when I told my daughter that I was going to show the Christmas stockings on the podcast, she was like, "Oh, are you gonna expose me on YouTube?" So I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I covered the names up so I don't expose anyone on YouTube. So this was my oldest son's stocking, and so his name is there. There's a little icicles, you can see. So I covered I just put a piece of fabric over the names. And he has a really cute one, the little background fabric with the stars, a little snowman, and I put little, you can hear it. I put little bells on his snowman, and the buttonhole stitch, fusible applique with the buttonhole stitch, and then of course a little snowy ground, and the trees and the stars. And on the back of his is another red plaid that I used. This is a little bit brighter one. So that's the stocking for my older son, and of course again it has the name on the top. And for my middle son, this is the stocking I made for him. And I think I chose different blues for all the backgrounds. All the backgrounds are different. So they have the same feel, but just a little bit of a different detail to it. So the 3 stars, and he has Santa with the present, and there are the trees, and a little birdhouse with the bird on it. And again, the snowy ground. So these are just so fun and so cute. And again, they look so nice hanging along the mantle. And this is the background for my middle son's stocking. And the pattern that I used for the snowmen was also found in the book by the same 2 ladies again, Nancy Smith and Linda Milligan, Joy to the World, their book Joy to the World, where they have all of these different Christmas, oh, look, I just saw that there's Nancy and Linda. 2 of my favorites really for quilting patterns. So this quilt that they have in their book with the 3 Santas is really cute. They have the most charming, they really have the most charming patterns. And this Santa here, the one that's holding the package, that's the one that I used for my son's stocking, if you can see that. And then I just added in the trees. And I think this little birdhouse is also from this book. I just took the Santas from the quilt, one of the Santas from the quilt, and added it with the birdhouse and put it together to make my son's stocking. And they just have such cute little designs. I just see this design now. This one, these 2 snowmen, he's roasting a marshmallow over a candle flame. And I made this I did this little scene on a sweatshirt for my daughter when she was in preschool. I had one of those little kind of craft sweatshirts. You can buy them at Michael's or Joann's, the craft stores, and they're just plain sweatshirts so that you can decorate them yourselves. So I bought a navy sweatshirt in her little preschool size, and I appliqued this little scene on this. I think there's a lot of glare on it, but I appliqued this little scene on her sweatshirt, and it was so cute. It was so, so cute. So they have really a lot of just really, really beautiful, charming patterns. The snowmen also came from this book. So I take just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I put them together, add some trees, and there you go. And the last stocking is my daughter's, and not to expose her at all. Her name is covered, but this is her stocking with the little angel, because she's such an angel, with the little angel on it, with the little stars, a different background. Oh, actually, I just see they have the same background. I thought I had done different backgrounds, but they do have the same. Maybe I ran out of blue. I don't know. By the fifth stocking, maybe I was just out of blue. And a little angel with the trees, and just really cute. And the background for this one is just a red, a kind of cherry red, cheerful pattern. Oops, for my oldest son's stocking. And the background for this one is kind of a red and white plaid. That's my youngest son's stocking. And the background for our daughter's stocking, the background for this is just a little, it's a red fabric, it's a red pattern with a little white, almost like a flower on the back. And again, the buttonhole stitch around everything, and the little snowy ground. Pattern that I use for her angel is from this book, Quilters Complete Guide by Marianne, Fons, and Liz Porter. I think this was my very first quilting book that I bought, and it's falling apart. So you can see how much I used it. But this is the pattern. I just have a page. So I can take the page right out. This is the pattern that's from that book that I used. Another piece of the book. This is the pattern that I used for her stocking. So you can see the little angel. Looks like she's singing. So this was a very fun thing to do. And as each child came, I would make their little stocking for their first Christmas. So those are the Christmas stockings. The patterns are from all over, just put together to show, and adding in the names at the top and all the little details. It really just makes it a fun little set. I can show them all together. They're really pretty. This one, and this one, and then mine. So really, really, really enjoyable project. I have one more quilt to show you. And this one is not in particular a Christmas quilt. It's more of a winter quilt, but I thought since I was showing them, I'd just show it too. So this is also another really big one. It's called, I think it's called Snowy Friends Quilt, but I just call it the Let It Snow quilt. It's done in flannels, and this was a kit. I bought all the fabric in a kit so I could just kind of mix and match how I wanted to use it, but I didn't have to put it together myself. And it's just really warm visually, but also really warm because it's flannel. And it is from this book called Nature's Noel by KP Kids and Company. Nature's Noel. And it had also a lot of beautiful, fun Christmas projects. Here is it is called the Snowfolk Friends wall quilt. Snowfolk Friends. So that's their version that they show. This is the picture that came with it. And it's pretty much the same fabrics that I use because I got the kit from them. And so this is what they were sending out with it. And again, I'll probably have to take a video of this because it is so large. But if I move it up, you can see it. And this one we have hanging up in the stairway of our home at Christmas and throughout winter. And this also has a sleeve in the back. Put the rod in there and hang it on the wall. But it's called the Snowfolk Friends Wall Quilt, or as I call it, Let It Snow Quilt. Lots of fun, very colorful. Also with the fusible applique, and you can see the buttonhole stitches around the letters, around the borders, around the snowmen. There are different hats. I just think it's so charming how they all have different hats. He has that kind of hat and that kind. He has actually earmuffs. And then the last one has a hat like that. So, and their little overalls are all different. One has buttons, he has a little pair. He has a bird, and he has a little heart. So, in the back of it, I'll just show you the back again. It's just this warm red and black plaid. A lot of fun to make. I just enjoy making quilts for Christmas or quilts for like the special time of year. So those are the Christmas projects that I've done over the years. And I mentioned that I did have one that was a hooked rug project, and I'll show you that right now. And this one is actually not finished. This is a hooked rug that I started years ago, and I just never finished it. I don't have the right colors. I'm not sure which colors I want to use, so I never got it finished, but I'll show it to you. So here is the hooked rug that I am almost finished, but not quite. So let me just show it to you. It's Santa. You can see the background here. I have to fill in the blue. Because what happened was I had this blue that I really liked that I started out with, this blue. And then I started to run out of it, and I could see that I wasn't going to finish. So then I had to add in different colors of blue. So then my thought became, since this is sort of a darker blue, what I would do is it would seem as though, I guess the sun was starting to come up and the blues would get lighter as it went to the bottom of the rug. So I added in some lighter blues. And then there's a star down here, and I'm not sure why that is, why the star is so low. I thought maybe it just looks like it could be in the distance, but I'm not sure if I want to keep the star there. And I wasn't able to get the blues to kind of gradually become lighter. So I'm still working on this. But there's Santa. He's got his little walking stick. He's walking, and it's snowy, and I really like the robe that he's wearing, his kind of Santa robe with the hoodie and the moon and the stars. And he's got this sparkly tote. But again, I ran out. I had this sparkly fabric that I really liked for the tote, but then I ran out of it. I didn't have enough, so I added this in. So I wasn't happy with that. And he's got a little tree with the star in his bag. And this, I did not even have a pattern for. What I did was, as I was driving our children to school this one particular year, there was a house that had a Santa flag hanging up. And every time I would pass by the house going to school to drop them off or pick them up, I looked at that flag and I thought, oh, that's such a great design. That would make a great hooked rug design. One day, what I did was I had our younger son jump out of the car. And I said, okay, you jump out, hold the flag up like this, and I'll quickly take a picture of it. And he was like, okay. So he did it. And I don't know if I have that picture, if I'll be able to find it now, but he took a picture. He held the flag up and I took a picture of it. And that's what I used to get the pattern for this rug. So what I did with that was I took the picture of my son holding the flag out. And then I think I traced the Santa onto a piece of paper, and then I just enlarged it and enlarged it. I took it to one of those copier places, and they were able to enlarge it even more for me. So this, then it goes to this, and sorry for the crinkly paper, but then they were able to enlarge it to this. And then I think I enlarged it twice more to get to the size that I wanted. So from a flag, a picture of a flag even, I was able to get this pattern that worked perfectly well for hooked rugs. And so there was no real pattern except I sort of borrowed the pattern from the flag in someone's yard. It's coming out really, really nicely. I really like it. I like how the bottom of his hat lays down over the bag and the little pom-pom at the end. But I have to work out the colors for it. I'm not really sure I like the border, this green, yet. I'm not sure about that. I wasn't sure which color to add in there. But I do like the main part of it. I just have to figure out what I want to do with the blue in the background, how I want it to fade into a lighter blue, and then decide on the border. Because again, I'm not sure if this green, how well that works. But that is my Christmas hooked rug project that's been, I don't know how many years in the making. I started this, they were in, I don't know, middle school. I just haven't been able to figure out how to finish it, so I haven't finished it. So one update I do have for you, which is not very good on my part, but is this Bleak House. I talked in the first episode that I was reading this book, and it's a very thick book. It was one that my daughter was supposed to read for her English class, and she never did. So I read it. I don't know how that works out, but I read it. And I was going to read it all the way through the year and kind of finish it up at Christmas time. And as you can see, I did not do very well at all. This is where I am. I'm about halfway through. I'm still enjoying it, still reading it. It's a fantastic story. It's Dickens at his best, but I didn't finish it up. I'm not gonna finish it up around Christmas time like I thought, but I can still be reading Dickens at Christmas. I just won't be finishing Dickens at Christmas, but it's an enjoyable read. As always, the characters are so rich and so Dickens, and I'm really enjoying it, but I didn't get as far as I had hoped with it. But I'm still reading Dickens at Christmas, which is one of the great treats for me at Christmas time. So there's just a little update. I'm going to continue to read it, hopefully, because somehow to me, Dickens seems like a Christmas or winter time reading. So, because I think it's a little heavy for summer, for spring or summer. So I will be reading this over the next few months and maybe finish it up by February so that it's a winter read. But I'll be working on reading this and working on my Santa rug over the winter. So that sounds like a nice little plan. So that's the update on Bleak House. Still enjoying it. Have not gotten as far as I wanted to get, but I'm able to read Dickens at Christmas, which is always a joy. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of those Christmas projects from years past. It was fun going through them again, and now I'm going to get them all scattered out around the house where I hang them and put them and display them. But I'm glad I got a chance to share them with you. And I do want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you have just the best Christmas ever. I hope you're able to gather with friends and family and those who are closest to you and just make good memories and have a warm, wonderful, enjoyable, blessed, holy Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again for subscribing and for commenting, leaving such great, encouraging comments. I'm so thankful for you. I'm so blessed by you. And as always, before we go, I would like to pray for you. So Father, thank you so much, Lord. Thank you for the greatest gift that we could ever receive. And just help us to remember what it is we're celebrating over the next few days. Help us to remember that we already received the greatest gift possible. Help us to keep our focus on you and your love for us. Help us to keep our focus on Jesus and the fact that he came here for us, and it is his birth His grace, His goodness that we are celebrating. So we thank you for that, Lord. I pray your blessings over everyone watching. I pray for a thankful heart for everyone. I pray for a wonderful Christmas time, just a beautiful celebration with family, with friends. And Lord, just time to relax as always, time to knit, and time to ponder the wonder of you coming down to earth, Jesus. That you came as a baby and you grew up to be a man and you gave your life for us. That is what we're celebrating. And all the things that I mentioned that we have because of that, that is what we're celebrating. That is Christmas. That is the true meaning of Christmas. So we thank you for that, Lord. We look forward to a wonderful Christmas celebration. And Lord, all the blessings, all the goodness that you give for another year in 2022. So I thank you once again, Lord. Thank you for your goodness. I pray your blessing over everyone watching. Give grace, give peace, Lord. And you've already, once again, given us the best gift of all. So I thank you. We pray these things, and we thank you for all of these things. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So friends, thank you once again for watching. I pray for you. I wish you the most blessed, most wonderful Christmas ever. And I will see you next time on Faith and Knitting. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.